Hi guys, welcome to Robin Hood Diaries. Today this evening. How are you? Hope you're well. As previewed, or I kind of bounced around with the previews. It's supposed to be book launch today, but that's tomorrow. So I swapped it around with my time playing Melissa Gilbert's love interest on Little House on the Prairie. Okay, so I get cast, which shocks the shit out of me. It was at MGM. It was actually the offices right, like, Mommy Dearest. You see, like, the front of MGM was just off to the side, little offices. And I don't know, I guess that's where they were working out of or whatever. And Michael Landon, I did the reading, then I did the callback with him. The man is, I don't know anything personal about the man. I haven't read anything. I've heard things back and forth, different things, and it is of no relevance to me, nor is it really of interest to me, because Michael Landon was my favorite director that I've ever worked with. And I've worked with a shit ton of directors from 6 all the way through 88, 89. I mean, that's a lot of directors. Commercial, television, stage, in which I am trained. So the man was just an angel sent from heaven to see in me something. Here I was, this kid, very light on his feet, precocious, that kind of euphemism for gay acting. That's kind of how I saw myself, kind of at that point, this precocious sort of alternate kid, to go for if you really wanted kind of the dorky. I don't know what I was to these people. Anyway, Michael Landon hired me, the gentlest guy, best auditions, up there with the best auditions I've ever had, full of smiles, reassuring. I mean, even if I didn't get the part, my takeaway would have been Michael Landon. Okay, so the man, for whatever reason, God bless him, hires me. And this is Melissa Gilbert's first love interest, AKA crush. I didn't date her, obviously, in this series, because she went on to dating older guys and seemed to have gotten older really quickly. But so I was her very first love interest in Little House on the Prairie. So she actually has such a major crush on me that there is a whole segment of the episode where she is confessing to her father, or I think it was Michael Landon, about the feelings that she has for me and that I am mean to her, won't take her to the dance or whatever. And she literally weeps herself to sleep over me. Okay. So I know what I'm in for. I'm Melissa Gilbert's, love interest. So I'm like, okay. First of all, I'm a foot shorter than her. Second of all, I'm younger than her. I have no idea what's going on. I was unfamiliar with the series, which I will tell you in a minute. So I arrive. They take me to Prairie Land, wherever the hell Prairie Land is out there, like in Saugus or whatever. They have like this whole prairie village that just sort of pops out of nowhere. You'd be like driving along and then, oh, look, Prairie Village or whatever it is. So Prairie Village, we're out in the middle of nowhere. I get there, got to do school and stuff like that, as does Melissa. Melissa is very lovely, but Melissa was a little staid, meaning not in any bad way, but just a touch reserved. Now, I attributed this right away to the fact I wanted to say, look, girl, I understand. I'm this little short kid, and they have you and me. So I kind of got that part. Not that she was like giving me that vibe, but there was kind of this initial kind of, not, like, oh my God, you're 12 and I'm 15. I think she was older, playing a bit younger when I worked with her, because if I'm not mistaken, Melissa, I think you were 15 and I was only 12, or 14 and 12, something like that. I knew she was at least a couple years older than me. Looks great nowadays for that, if she a few years older than me. So nothing untoward with her. I saw her read in between takes. She would, finish up some of her schoolwork. Not gregarious, not overbearing, not like, here I am on the scene, pay attention to me at all. I found her very civilized, actually. And I work with a lot of actresses by then, trust me. So, so my takeaway with Melissa initially is like, okay, this is cool. You know, I'm like a foot shorter and I look younger and I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, but at least my girlfriend is, you know, being nice to me. So that's a good takeaway. The other great takeaway, you know, I'll talk about the cast first. Like, I am not familiar with the show. I will tell you that at the end. But so that lady that plays the really mean lady, the mother of that blonde, Alison Arngrim, which I'll talk about in a second, the sweetest person you've ever met in your life. I guess she was supposed to be like some horrible, mean person on the series. God, she was sweet. Oh my God, laughing and smiling all the time. So friggin' sweet. And like I said, I wasn't familiar with how like mean she was supposed to be or whatever. So there's also 2 stars in this film that I can't really get into too much because it's in my book. I'm so sorry. I co-starred or guest starred, or whatever you want to call it, alongside Ray Bolger, who was the Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz, and Eileen Heckart, who is a very, very well-known actress from a bit way back. If you're familiar with The Bad Seed, you know, the little girl who's blonde girl who's evil. Well, she was kind of like the aunt, the neighbor who kind of was hip to this girl being off. Anyway, she did a lot of other stuff. My story was her, and my stories with Ray and stuff, I can't get into because it's in the book. So we'll skip those characters because they're in the book. But so far, so good. Everybody's amazing. So then I end up in the makeup trailer with Alison. And I don't know these characters. I got to be honest with you. I just really didn't know much of anything. And so she's next to me in the makeup trailer, just the 2 of us getting made up to my right. And she was talking about some things, nothing bizarre, but she was making conversation with the makeup artist that I found very unsettling. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Nothing evil or anything. I just found the topic of the conversation quite unsettling for folks of our age. So then with Alison, I see her years and years and years and years and years later. When I'm a social worker, I got a caseload in the Inland Empire of 150 clients a month with HIV and AIDS. Suddenly, Alison pops out of nowhere with a pizza and a coworker. And again, Alison, I am only stating the facts. So at this point in 1996, I guess she was involved with selling viatication with the HIV impacted community. Viatication went around sort of like buying your life insurance policies if you were like seriously impacted by HIV and AIDS and perhaps were not in very good medical condition, but had a life insurance policy that had beneficiaries and so forth. Well, viatication, those folks would come and offer to buy your life insurance policy at a fraction of the cost so that you could use the money to spend on your emergencies or whatever with no beneficiary except them. So she came with her coworker, brought me a pizza, brought me and my executive director a pizza, and then was trying to sell us on viatication. And so that was sort of frowned on at the time. I had been a social worker with clinical hours since 1988, off and on, including my volunteer work. So I found it kind of odd that she ended up becoming like this AIDS diva, like, making appearances and speaking on behalf of our community, etc. So I found that weird because she was selling viatication, and that's sort of antithetical to the movement. Anyway, whatever, she wrote a book. I'm sure she's a nice lady. I don't know. So we've got the 2 movie stars, we've got the director, we've got Melissa, and we've got Alison. And then it was old home week, as they say, for 2 of the people in the series. For me, not knowing anything about the series. And one was Matthew Laborteaux. Matthew Laborteaux, of course, played the brother character to the second brother who was brought into the family, the Ingalls family, I guess. And he was a series regular. Matthew and I had worked together on A Circle of Children, which I'm going to do a whole episode about, where we played autistic kids. And so we had already done that, A Circle of Children, and he was very, very good in that, by the way. Excellent. premise was a little odd, but Jane Eggle Alexander and Rachel Roberts, who can turn a job like that down? We didn't. So regrouping with him on Little House was kind of fun because we'd worked together. And then wait a minute. Al Eisenman, who was the brother of Ike Eisenman, who was a very popular actor, a little bit ahead of me by several years. He was in Escape from Witch Mountain and a lot of stuff early 70s, just a hair earlier than me. But his brother Al, who worked a lot, was kind of I don't want to say my competition, but we sort of bounced back. We were like kind of up for the same part all the time. So he later gets hired for something that I get fired on. Tom Hanks and company decided I was too whatever to continue with having been hired and doing the blocking and everything for this series, because suddenly I guess he loved the table read, but whatever. But Al replaced me, and I was kind of like, ugh, well, at least Al got it. Hey, Al, by the way, I hope you're still around. And so then in this one, Al plays my sidekick. So again, it was cool because it's like, first he takes over. We'd worked, and then we always see each other, and then he takes me over when I get fired, and now he's my sidekick. So it was kind of fun. And then there's this intimacy going on, and she's crying and weeping, and I'm calling her a toad face because I like her, but I'm awkward, and she likes me, but she's shy, and I call her a toad face, and she weeps and whatever. So the whole premise is really she wants me to take her to the dance or something, or be her boyfriend. And there is a dance coming up, of course, where everything gets resolved at the dance. So somehow in there we become friendly. I wish I remembered, but we, I don't know, show each other that we like each other or something. So then comes the dance, the dance scene, which I did not know how to participate in this dance, which again I can't get into because it's in the book with those two movie stars, the older ones. So here's this. So I can actually say I worked with the whole cast because the dance, whole friggin' village of Prairie Land or whatever was there. I sat next to Alison, and maybe was it Matthew or his brother was on it too. God, I wish I could remember his name because he was somebody also I had worked with and I saw on auditions all the time. So can't remember his name. So anyway, like I said, I had worked with a few of these people, and it was fun. And there's this dance scene at the end where everybody is there, and the whole thing was to see if the two couple characters, because there's always plot, subplot, get together in the end. And the two of them were Eileen, Heckart, and Ray Bolger, older people that liked each other. And the other two were me and Melissa Gilbert, who suddenly became, we were like, I don't know what happened. And I don't know where we're supposed to go from there. But so we love each other, and then we dance. And it was a train wreck because of what I was supposed to do and whatever. And there we are, me a foot shorter and 2 years, 3 years younger, and she's in love with me, and I'm in love, and everybody's in love. And that was it. It literally was the last day of several days, and it was the last scene was the dance, and so it was done after everything was done after the dance. So anyway, that was where the episode closed, and everyone's happy, and sitting on the rafters of the barn of Prairie Land, and that was it. And then I saw Melissa years. What was I, 17? And so, 5 years later, let's say. She was always gracious. I bumped into her a couple times. So she was dating Rob Lowe at the time. And I was there for a premiere of a movie that my dear friend's dad, who was a studio head, whatever. And so we were at the premiere on Universal. and she was there with Rob, and I was there with my best friend, and then she, you know, brings up, "Hey, Sean," and I'm like, "Hey," and we're all, "Hey." Rob Lowe books the frig out of there so fast. I don't know what was the problem, and they were in matching new wave outfits. It was so cute. But anyway, he bolted. I didn't get a chance. She literally said, "Oh, Rob," like to introduce us, and he was gone. So anyway, I don't know. That was like the aftermath of knowing and working with her. And then she went on to become a very, very good president of our union. In solidarity. Okay, I'm gonna let you go now. We're over. I'm sure we're like, God knows, I've kept you for 15 minutes. And so I'll let you go. I love you. Sorry for the switcheroo on the topics today, but tomorrow's gonna be the book launch, so thought I'd do something fun. Okay, bye again. Adore you, love you, all that good stuff. See you tomorrow. Bye.